Hey guys, my name is Jonah Battle, and today we're going to be redoing the Cuban tree frog enclosure that's up there. It's actually already done, but I just didn't like the way that it was functioning, and I just didn't think that it was going to be successful, so I decided to change it and make it easier on me and better for the Cuban tree frog. So let's get into this. So first I drained the bottom, and then I took out all the botanicals and plants, and then I took out most of the sticks and tried to rearrange them because I did not like how they were before. I also took out the big rocks and added more gravel, and the reason for doing all of this is because I just thought it was kind of gross in the bottom before. And then I put water in and then gravel vacuumed it back out because the gravel in the bottom was pretty gross. Then I started adding dirt in and planting the plants and adding botanicals and other pieces of wood and getting everything situated. Okay guys, so here is the new frog cage build, or the changed version. So I guess I'm gonna set the camera down and then I'm gonna talk for a little while about why I wanted to make this change. So there was gravel on the bottom and it was filled with botanicals and there was water on the bottom. So basically, if I've ever seen like a really cool frog enclosure, normally they're just water on the bottom. And I think that goes a lot better when they're like really big enclosures that have room for like an aquarium type of space on the bottom. So like really cool frog enclosures are normally like a communal, like a bunch of tree frogs, and then they lay eggs in the bottom and they have tadpoles and everything in the bottom, which is really cool, and that's kind of what I wanted to try to create. But I think I kind of failed because this is only a 20 gallon, first of all, and I didn't make this tank, like this background, for this specific reason. So the background goes all the way to the bottom, all the way down. So the water is touching the background, and it still is, but like it really was before because it was a lot higher. And I think that this silicone isn't really supposed to be in water because it's silicone too, and I haven't really tried it in water like with fish and everything, so I don't know if it's hurting. I didn't want it to hurt the frog in any way because I know frogs' skin is well, they take in water from their skin, or moisture from their skin, instead of like drinking, so you have to have like good water for them to swim in. And I just don't think that it was very good water, because when he pooped in it, I didn't know where he pooped. And the main problem, I think, was, like I said, the small amount of water that there was and the fact that it didn't have any flow. And I have things that I could put in it, but like, if I don't really need to have another thing running in my room, then I don't want to have another thing running in my room. I don't really want just a bunch of filters and stuff in my room running all the time for like electrical bill reasons. So I didn't want to do that, and eventually, hopefully, I'll be able to have like a aquarium at the bottom of like a frog enclosure. That sounds really cool to me, but like smaller frogs probably, or a bigger enclosure. So that's basically the story there. I also didn't like the big piece of wood that was sticking out in the middle because it was kind of getting moldy, which was gross, this big piece of wood here. So I removed that, and I think that made it look a lot better by removing that, and then I rearranged the sticks, as you saw as well. And I like having the plants this way rather than the other way because I know that they'll do better this way, and I think they'll grow more. And I just think that this whole system just looks way cooler. So there's all these plants up here, and then it goes down to more plants, and then it's kind of like a beach system, which I think is pretty cool. How there's that, and then I put all the gravel, so then the water, because it's filled to here, is all the way there, which I think is cooler, and I think it just makes it look really cool with all like the tangled sticks and stuff, and we'll see how the frog does with it. Also, what this is better about is that I can put a lot more dubia roaches in here, and then it can eat them without any trouble. Like before, I was scared that if I put a bunch of dubia roaches in here, then they would go down and get drowned. So I think this really made this whole thing look way cooler, and I think I'll enjoy it a lot more. And that's one thing that I've kind of found. There's kind of two things when you're keeping an animal. When you think about keeping an animal, I think that one part, it should be easy to keep, and that means different things to different people. Like, stuff that's easy to keep for me is this stuff, like this is huge enclosure stuff that, I mean, it's not easy. I'm not saying that this is easy, but it's stuff that I'm able to do, and it doesn't really bother me. And mainly it's about food for me. So like turtles, the lizards that I keep, basically everything. The turtles eat pellets, and they eat insects that I breed myself. That's the big thing with me. I do not like feeding insects that I have to buy constantly. That's just not something that I want to do. So I breed insects, so I don't have anything that like main diet insects, anything at all except the frog that eats only insects. Then I feed like this lizard eats lettuce and different stuff, like, it's a herbivore, it's an iguana. Then the crested geckos, part of their diet is insects, but mainly it's this crested gecko diet. So that's the big thing. That doesn't really apply to the frog necessarily, because it is the one thing that I have that eats mainly insects. And then the other thing that I think is really important is that what you have it in looks nice, because I think if it looks nice, then you're gonna want to sustain that niceness and keep it really well maintained. Like, as you can see down here, this is not an enclosure that's like built for a crested gecko. It's built for a aquarium, so it doesn't open from the front, and every single time I spray it down, it gets water stains all the way across the glass. Or it doesn't get water stains, but it gets water all the way across the glass. And I have to clean that every single time. And I think that his enclosure could be a lot more gross if I didn't keep it as nice as I did, which that just kind of makes sense. But the reason I want to keep it nice is because I made it nice in the first place. So I think if an enclosure is kind of gross and kind of set up to be doomed, then you're not going to want to take care of it as much, which is kind of what happened with the last one, because he would get down in the water and then he'd climb up the glass, and then the whole glass would be disgusting, and I just didn't really want to deal with it because it kind of looked gross anyway. So I think this is going to help me a lot with taking care of it. And I don't know, I feel kind of weird because I've said this before in different videos, and I kind of feel weird saying that. Like, just because an enclosure looks bad doesn't mean I'm not going to take care of the animal. Like, right now, this turtle right here is getting the most care in the room because she had shell rot, and I have to, deal with her every single day. And she's in this, like, 30-gallon that has nothing. By the way, this is way too small for a turtle. I had to downgrade her so then I can fit her in my room and work with her every day. But she's in this tank, and she, there's nothing glamorous about this at all. It looks quite bad, but it's still, good enough for her. So, and same with this. I'm treating him for, like a skin fungus type of thing, so that kind of sucks. But same with both of them. That doesn't mean that I'm not taking care of them. I'm just saying long term, I think that the better an enclosure looks, the more you're going to want to take care of it and keep it going and looking nice, and that's better for the animal. And also the kind of bioactive setup I have here also is, I think, better for the animal and makes it more natural, especially since this guy's technically from the wild, even though he was invasive in Florida. So, you know, it wasn't really in the wild, but it's very similar, and they do prosper down there in Florida, but that doesn't mean they should be there because they're, you know, taking up space of native frog species. Anyway, sorry I've been rambling, but this is kind of a test for me because I'm really so hard trying not to say I begin saying like just and then I'll try to cut myself off. I'm really trying not to say for you guys and my sanity, because I have to watch through all of these videos, and if I say over and over and over again, it really just it just hurts me. I don't know what it is, but it makes me mad. So I've been talking kind of weird in most of my videos just because I'm really focusing on not saying Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, like it down below. If you have any comments or concerns, put in the comments below. And if you want more content, then subscribe. Have a fantastic day, and I hope to see you in the next video. Peace.